Today I wanted to talk about the movie Sentimental Value. It is one of my favorite films of 2025, which is saying a lot because 2025 has been a really good year for movies in general, but Sentimental Value is one of the best movies in a really good year for movies. It's nominated for 9 Oscars, is nominated for the Best Picture as well, and has a decent chance of winning it. And I wanted to kind of like talk about this movie because it's been my comfort movie for the past month or so, and I've been thinking a lot about it, and I wanted to analyze the movie and review it from the point of view of sadness, alienation, and family trauma. Most of this review is spoiler free, although I will say I do discuss some themes, and so if you want a purely spoiler free review, I would recommend a different video. So it's kind of like a mix. I'll try to keep it as spoiler free as I can, but it's difficult with this one. And so before I get into Sentimental Value, I want to talk about Joachim, the director, because my introduction to him was actually his last film, which is The Worst Person in the World. I really like that film. It's about a 20-something young woman finding herself, going through messy relationships, trying to build a career, and I find that really relatable and kind of liberating because she makes awful decisions in the movie and she surrounds herself with like kind of questionable people. But isn't that your 20s? Isn't that what this whole thing is about? You're trying to understand yourself. But the title, right? Like, she feels like she's the worst person in the world. She feels like she's the most selfish person in the world. But when you see the movie, you kind of understand, well, not really. And yeah, I thought that movie was brilliant. So I was really excited for Sentimental Value. And so, okay, Sentimental Value. Why do I think this movie is amazing? I think this movie is amazing because it explores sadness through art. Duh, right? But the movie is very meta. The movie's about making a movie in a way, and the movie's about art in general in a way. And the reason why I say this is the father, or the character played by Stellan Skarsgard, is a world-famous movie director in this film, and he's trying to make a movie, and through that movie he's trying to connect with his eldest daughter. And so at the core of the film is this father-daughter relationship where they're estranged, and the reason they're estranged is because when the daughters were young, the parents divorced, and the reason why they divorced was the dad was making movies, getting accolades, people respect him, but that kind of like alienated him, and when the mom dies, he has to come back and kind of play a father figure role, right? The movie's about a lot of different things, the other being age as well. The father is growing old, Stellan Skarsgard character is growing old, and he wants to make one good film before he leaves. Doesn't that kind of remind you of Quentin Tarantino? Whatever though, right? And yeah, like he writes such a beautiful script, and they do, so you don't see the movie in the movie, that would be kind of dumb, but they read parts of the script, and it's beautiful. It's kind of like his way of saying sorry. If you've ever had African parents, oh my god, they don't directly say sorry, they instead make you food, right? This is, I guess, the Scandinavian, Norwegian version of that, where it's like, hey, let's make a movie and apologize. And yeah, and the reason why I kind of like really like this film is there's a sadness to these characters. There's the sadness to Stellan Skarsgård character. There's a sadness to Renate's character Nora, who's like so sad that they're all functioning adults going through life, but if you slow down and watch the movie, like as she's walking through Oslo, as she's walking through the city, she's fighting tears most of the time, and she can't hold conversations with people because there's so much anger in her, anger and resentment that her father has left her, and whenever he comes, she leaves the house. And that's the other thing, there is a central house that this movie is based on, the house that they grew up, and they do such an excellent job of making the house feel like a character in the film. And I really appreciated that because that's how we experience our lived spaces, it's like generations after generations, your mom, your dad, yourself, if you have the privilege and pleasure of owning a home, that is. But yeah, they did such a good job of making the house feel lived in, and Oslo also plays a certain role in it, and I want to talk about the narrative, but technically too, the movie's brilliant, right? Like they select music and songs in such like I don't know, they're able to create such a good vibe because of the songs they select, and it's like jazz and it's like Nina Simone, and it does a really good job of crafting the mood of the film. But yeah, like, this is the part where it gets a bit spoilery, is we later find out, like, the daughters do their thing, but we later find out that the reason the father is distant is because he has gone a lot through his childhood as well. He writes this beautiful script for this movie that he wants to make with the eldest daughter, but the eldest daughter refuses. But the youngest daughter reads the script, and then she feels that it's about her father, and so she goes and researches in the library about her grandma or his mom, and she finds out that her grandma had been tortured because she dissented against Nazis. And so that kind of like really shocks her to her core, and the movie does such a good job of like, the actors, I think they're brilliant because it's like they stay with the emotion, right? Like the movie lingers on her face as she's processing it, as she's going day by day, like it just takes a moment and pauses, and like you can see the sadness in her face sort of thing. And that sadness breeds an understanding that the reason her father is the way he is, or partly, is because of what he's experienced as a child. And then this is where we go full spoiler to an extent, is that they make the film ultimately, right? Like they go and produce the film, and they're able to bridge that gap. But in sections of the movie, like you see Nora really struggling to make her work or art, which is theater, and that's because she's angry still, and like it just reaches a point where she can't use sex or she can't use other things to like distract herself and get herself back to work. It just, the emotions reach such a place where she just has to kind of like cry, and you see how like the daughters support each other, and there's so much beauty in that. And yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't say there's like clear forgiveness in the film from the daughter to the father, but there is a sort of like professionalism, I guess, because they work together, and there's a beauty that brings. And I think the biggest compliment I can give this film is that, yes, narratively it's excellent, technically it's brilliant, but it is a vibe. Like if you want to watch a movie that's a vibe, watch this movie. Just so much to praise about this film, but just one of my favorite things to do is just like put it on, watch it, cry a little, do homework. Not that much, but I'm kidding, of course. But it's a really good film. It's a damn good film, and I'm excited to see what else he does. And yeah, I just wanted to document it as one of the films I've seen this year. Thank you.